Hello, today I will be reviewing Genshin Impact developers' answer to an email sent by GameSpot journalist that provided them with some questions, and those answers were not really copium healing, I would say copium killers. Majority of those answers were not really as satisfactory as other people would have expected when they saw that there's this kind of article. People were waiting long time for Genshin developers to answer some of those questions that were just lingering, maybe from the very beginning of the game as well, about some potential improvements in the game. There were as well, people were thinking that maybe we would have some news about stuff being fixed, characters or something like that. So there's quite a few questions, and I just wanted to go through them and just relay my thoughts, which are not completely mine. I did have a discussion with one of my buddies who is playing Genshin Impact, and yeah, we just had a collective of thoughts that we kind of discussed through about each of those questions that were answered. So yeah, let's go through them. Alright, first question. GameSpot. Version 3.0 and 3.1 are expected to be 1 week shorter than usual. In the future, will you be continuing with these shortened version lengths, or should players expect update releases to return to their former pace? The answer. Starting from version 3.0 to the end of version 3.2, the length of each update will be shortened to 5 weeks, but a shorter update cycle will not influence the quality of gameplay and content. Please stay tuned. Basically, what the developers say, that they are gonna get back to their usual 6-week format to release each of the updates. There's nothing too much about it. Only thing is that I see that's pretty good about these current updates is waiting 5 weeks but not 6 weeks benefits players the most that are not completing content in first few days, that are not rushing through it. Potentially people who have already went through the honeymoon phase, and one of them is definitely me. It's been those moments where I would just be running through an update with my eyes burning, and then it would be just like 2-3 days, and then that's it, it's complete, give me more. So I think that's a good thing that they're condensing those updates. 6 weeks format, when they're gonna come back to it, it's fine, This is the original format that they were actually following, and you cannot really do much about it. Second question. Currently, the Spiral Abyss is the only true endgame content for players at high adventure ranks. Are there any plans to release new permanent endgame content in the same vein as the Spiral Abyss? The answer. The Spiral Abyss is one of the most effective ways for players to test out their party composition and combat strength. If we design another type of permanent endgame that is similar to Spiral Abyss, it might end up creating excessive anxiety for our players. Not everyone is interested in Musk Grief. Just like the Genius Invocation TCG that we unveiled in the special program for version 3.2, we are also working on designing more interesting gameplay in the future. As an open world game, Genshin Impact has natural compatibility with various types of gameplay, which gives us the confidence in the long-term operation. For developers saying that creating something similar to Spiral Abyss might end up creating excessive anxiety for players is just, I don't know, there's not much truth behind it, because I think this answer has been provided by looking at some certain stats of how many active players do actually complete Spiral Abyss, how often they do complete it, and how many stars do they reach, up to maximum 36, and I think they just looked at those stats and then said, well, okay, we don't need any more permanent battle content, let's just do more temporary mini games, which is fairly disappointing. Neglecting this kind of part of the player base is just strange. For those who would say that this answer is satisfactory, yeah, okay, you can continue playing or enjoying game in your own ways. Maybe you enjoy spending your time in Teapot, decorating. Maybe you spend your time socializing with people that join your world, or just, go through the story and don't care about those numbers too much. That's perfectly fine. Every type of player base in the Genshin community is as valid as the other, but I would say that there's quite a lot of people that are feeling disappointed. Hoyoverse is just flooding this game with little mini games that don't even stay permanently. I know TCG is gonna come out. It just reminds me of a very mediocre card game format with not sure how much complexity. I would actually kind of play that. I'm familiar with card games. I spent quite a lot of time playing Yu-Gi-Oh! In real life and on the screen, but I think we need more permanent battle content, because most of those people who are actually completing it either by building those characters or pulling multiple 5 stars of the same character, getting multiple constellations, they're not having a potential to use all of that strength that is accumulated through actually building those characters or increasing their capabilities with those constellations. It just kind of defeats the purpose. Why would you need to pull? The only thing that would make people pull for that would be just, I like this character, I want him to be as strong as possible, even if I don't play Spiral Abyss or something like that, he's cool, he deserves everything, take my money, For any suggestions, we definitely need more permanent battle content. We need more of it. We need more difficult stages. If the developers would see this as some sort of potential loss of money because, we're giving more Primo Gems than we usually do, we can get something else for those rewards, not Primo Gems. Give us more strong boxes of certain artifacts, or let us choose the artifacts we want with still all that possible RNG. Give the possibility to build their characters even more and create some sort of medium where they could actually use that kind of build. Genshin Impact is going into year 2 with an ever-expanding roster. Some older characters might get left behind as power creep settles in and newer characters become much stronger choices. Is there a plan in place to potentially upgrade older characters and make them more viable? The answer: if a character is only assessed by a single dimension of numerical strength, power creep could indeed be an issue. However, in Genshin Impact, the rules of gameplay are more impactful than how strong the character is. Therefore, new battlegrounds, new challenge levels, or even new team builds all have potential to bring new life to existing content. Right, so this answer, I think I would partially agree with the thought that we do use characters in team compositions, and some of those team compositions enable those characters to perform well in their own function, but it does not solve the problem for individual character problems. There are quite a few characters that need a fix badly, even though they're 4 stars that should not be capable of doing bigger numbers or anything like that, but just some characters need some attention just so they would be playable, because some of those characters people do not want to put in their teams unless they have no choice. Maybe they're starting players and they don't have too many characters or something like that, and of course some of them don't care about this, but there's definitely a lot of people that do. It's been 2 years that the game is out and there's definitely some characters that need fixing. On to the next question. The introduction of Dendro has created plenty of new ways to cause elemental reactions, but some elements have been left out. Has there been any discussion regarding the addition of new reactions for existing elements? For example, in the future, could there be a new Geo and Dendro reaction? The answer: we have no such plans for the time being. With the release of Dendro Element, the 7-element system has become somewhat complex. For us, there are other ways to increase the fun for players rather than simply increasing the complexity of game rules. With easy and open rules given some time, players will come to discover their own ways of developing builds. That is the fun of this game. The balancing of all gameplay rules is part of the team's long-term design focus. Plus, the team's experience and learning from player feedback in the long run are all important to maintain that focus. I would say fairly valid response. Introducing new reactions, for example, with those elements that kind of feel left out, I guess it would be a nice addition, but it comes down to a problem where if that new reaction is introduced, there might be some issues of certain characters overperforming according to their own star rank. For example, talking about Noelle, if Noelle is equipped with, I think, Red Horn Trasher, I think it would be Arataki Ito's main weapon, and then if you pair up Noelle with Yunjin, Goro, and then some other Geo character, Noelle can dish out some insane damage It's not something really super broken, but it's just the accumulation of the effects of the character and additional character effects and the weapon that just kind of provides this very ridiculous result where you just see that, oh my gosh, this 4-star is performing better than, 5-star. So I think introducing a new elemental reaction would be quite game breaking if it would not be done responsibly. The world of Tevat continues to expand, giving players so many more challenges to complete daily. Domains, bosses, ley lines. Is there a chance we can see a cap increase for original Resin or a quicker regeneration rate to allow players to take on more of these challenges each day? The answer. Domains, bosses and ley lines are important means to farm character and weapon ascension materials, and Resin is required to claim these items as rewards. Meanwhile, we're also providing more options for gamers to obtain character development items. For example, many character and weapon ascension materials can be obtained and redeemed from events that we run periodically. This is nonsense. I think this is the question that riled up the most of the Genshin community, because with the amount of domains and the amount of bosses that we need to actually go through if we want to build more than one character, keeping the current cap of Resin, I think it's fairly ridiculous, and this is not going to be something that the player base is going to be leaving. People are going to be complaining about this continuously and even more in the future when we're going to get even more content. We need an increase of Resin at least up to 200, and the regeneration could be increased up to 10%. I think that kind of offer would not be as game breaking or suddenly making this game too easy to farm artifacts or something like that. People spend thousands of Resin sometimes to get a decent artifact that they want. Okay, next question. New players may have been a bit lost when starting the Summertime Odyssey event because they missed Fischl and Mona's first introductions. This also happened when Scaramouche showed up in Inazuma's Archon quest after appearing in limited time Mondstadt event. Is the team considering adding a way for new players to see or replay old story related content and cutscenes that only existed in past limited time events? We are aware of this issue and looking into solutions for it. On one hand, stories from limited time events shall never become barriers to understanding and playing Archon quests. On the other hand, we're also working on beginner tutorial adjustments, client capacity optimization, intelligent management of past content, and other optimizations. And as our technology and capacity grow, we hope to have useful solutions that players welcome. I think this answer is quite reasonable, because first problem that players are facing, especially those that are playing this game on mobile, on smartphones, is the storage capacity. Storage capacity runs out, maybe people are not able to expand it more, and then you cannot play the game. That's it. Developers are, I believe, aware, and they do not want to lose as many people, because if they would be putting all the possible content in the game. Last 3 questions, quite small in the importance compared to the other ones, but they're still there. Question: costumes were added to the game last year, providing new stylish looks for some characters. How likely is it that Traveler becomes a recipient of one of these costumes? It would be interesting to see Traveler in clothing that represents some of those regions they enter on their journey. It is an intriguing idea to design outfits and accessories with regional characteristics for Traveler. We don't have anything to share on that front, but we're always considering new ideas. The answer is basically no. They're not creating any kind of costumes for Travelers. Maybe we're gonna see some sort of change in appearance in some late future content when all the 7 region stories maybe are going to be completed and we're going to be on to some epic final battle or some sorts. And yeah, I think it would be very nice for Travelers to have region specific costumes, but I think it is taken into consideration by the developers that there's not a lot of people who actually play Travelers. Next question. As a follow-up to the previous question, Aether and Lumine seem to get fun little accessories during certain quests, like a mask or a flower crown, but they can only be worn for short periods of time. Have you ever considered turning these temporary accessories into permanent cosmetics? The answer: we've been discussing this question within the team and some other ideas similar to it. However, we don't have any news or details to reveal at this time. Pretty similar answer to the full traveler costume possibilities. And for the last question, on top of Genshin Impact, Hoyoverse is also working on Honkai Impact 3rd, Zenless Zone Zero, and Honkai Star Rail. There has been a crossover between Genshin Impact and Honkai Impact 3rd in the past, where Kaching and Fischl arrived in Honkai Impact. Are there any plans in store to do the reverse and bring characters from Honkai Impact 3rd into Genshin Impact? In terms of characterization, we wish to channel more effort and attention into creating characters from the world of Genshin Impact. If there are new opportunities for crossover in the future, we will be sure to share them with everyone. I think that's a valid answer as well. I don't really mind us not getting too many crossover characters because developers do release a lot of new 5 stars and 4 stars, and there's definitely quite a lot of variety to choose from, choosing the characters that people like and they want to play with. I think this is something that should not be pondered about for too long. So yeah, so that's pretty much my take on this article. I will be attaching it in the description below. You can take a look at it yourselves. You can have a read. Please let me know on what are your thoughts about this and what would you actually want to see added or updated in this game. Do you want permanent content that's related to battling, or do you want something else, you know, like more mini games that would just be staying permanently and, you know, would be providing those rewards? Do you want the resin cap increase? Do you think that it is actually needed? Yeah, just let me know. Anyways, thanks for watching and see you next time.